like to start out by giving all glory, all praise, all honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rukakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. This is the Mayim in Atlanta, and you just saw a image or a clip from Iran, and they are burning what says in the little description below. It says Iranians burning Baal statue and chanting against the state of the Jays. And so you could even see their flags down there below the Iranian flags, and you even see a Babylonian flag or a U.S. flag right there as well. And they're burning this effigy. They said it's of Baal, but I'm pretty positive that is to Moloch, because that's what they're tracing all of these reports that have been coming out. They're tracing those back to Moloch worship with the sacrifice of children and with the eating of them and all the things that they're doing. This is more of it's something that goes into Moloch, because Moloch goes into child sacrifice, and that's what these people are doing, and they're linking them hand in hand. And even that star on the blue and white flag, that goes back to Moloch too, and they are burning Moloch because they are ready to go to war with these Satanists over here. And from the land, in the state of the Jays. But I want to check out some things. First, let's this is 2nd Esdras 15 and 30. This is also the Carmanians. The Carmanians are the Persians, which the Persians are the Iranians. So also the Iranians, the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. Wild boars do lots of damage. They bring disease, they tear up agriculture, infrastructure, they kill small animals and animals on farms. They do a lot of damage, and that's how these Iranians are going to be when they finally get going. And it says, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them. They're going to join battle with the dragons of Arabia, stated in verse 29, because the Arab world is going to link together to go against, as they call them, Big Satan and Little Satan, America and the state of the Jays. They're going to all link together with Russia, with China, and with some of the beast countries as well. Everybody's going to go against the great bully, and they're going to kind of win, because really the win's going to go to Yahweh Shai, but they're going to get some action in. And it says, and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. The land of the Assyrians is going into America, which America is called by many names within the scripts. The Babylonians, the Assyrians, they're called Sodom, they're called Egypt, called Nineveh, many names, but this is one of those times. Just showing this great battle is yet to come, and the Carmanians are getting ready for it. They're even burning the idols of these of the state of the Jays. I'm going to jump over here to Amos 5 because of what they are burning. It says, have ye offered unto me sacrifices and offerings in the wilderness 40 years, O house of Israel? And we didn't just offer to the Lord in the wilderness. It's why we were there for so long. You know, the golden calf. We were offering unto idols, which is why we're in so much trouble. It says, but ye have borne the tabernacle of your Moloch, and Chiun, your images, the star of your power. Notice the star on that blue and white flag. It says, which you made to yourselves, so that's not of the Lord. It says, therefore will I cause you to go into captivity beyond Damascus, saith the Lord, whose name is the power of hosts. This is why we went into captivity, for the spiritual adultery in which we committed against our power, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. But Moloch, that's what they were burning. It means Strong's, or from the Concordance, Strong's H 4432, Malak, which means king. This is the god of the Ammonites and Phoenicians, to whom some Israelites sacrificed their infants in the valley of Hinnom. This is a power of child sacrifice. What these people were doing on that island was child sacrifice. It was a bunch of ritualistic things. They were drinking blood, making sacrifices, defiling the bodies of these children, sodomizing them, sacrificing them. The whole thing was sacrifice. Every act that was occurring to them was sacrifice in these temples under that high priest there. And this is one of the names that they're doing it under. They've taken all these ancient Babylonian gods and ancient Canaanite gods and ancient Egyptian gods, even though they're all really basically the same spirit, just different names. And they've melded them all together, and they have been doing their best to get blessings from these different gods. But actually, I got to go to that Isaiah 47 just because we're speaking about this. But these are devils, and that's how America and the West was formed, by sacrificing unto idols and to different gods. It was not in the name of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. It was under God and Jesus. That's left-handed. That's not the name of the Father or the Son. That's all left-handed Satanist stuff. The founding fathers were Satanists. They were a bunch of warlocks. Just look at the grid of Washington, D.C. Look at the different statues and images in D.C. of the founding fathers. And you could see them in their Masonic garb. These are witches and warlocks, and this whole place has been built up on sacrificing to these different devils, and now the world is calling them out. Those Iranians see it, and they're burning their deities, the different statues made to their deities, and putting their flags on it. Isaiah 47 and 12. Actually, let's start at 10. It says, "For thou hast trusted in thy wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me." They've been doing these things in secret, and they're kind of coming out with it at this point. It says, "Thy wisdom and thy knowledge, it hath perverted thee. And thou hast said in thine heart, I am, and none else beside me." They got proud. It says, "Therefore shall evil come upon thee. Thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee." This is speaking to Babylon, but I'm also thinking of the calamity of Esau, them being exposed in these different plagues that are coming onto them. Same thing with Babylon, though, because their judgments are intertwined. It says, "Thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, which thou shalt not know." Yeah. This is the downfall, the calamity of Esau, and the downfall of Babylon. It says, "Stand now with thine enchantments." All this witchcraft that they have been doing, the things that are in those reports, the things that we know have been going on in these Catholic churches and in these high up secret places. Stand with these enchantments. "And with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth." Been doing this from the beginning. As I was saying, the founding fathers are just a bunch of warlocks. It says, "If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Behold, they shall be as stubble, the fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it." You're not going to be able to escape from these things, Esau. Stand now with thine enchantments. It's almost like he said, if so be thou mayest prevail. It's almost like he's talking to your forefather Cain. And you're not going to be able to prevail. You don't get out of this because you're doing extreme wickedness. You are the wicked, sacrificing to Moloch and stuff. But going to the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, it says Moloch, an idol of the Ammonites, who was also at various times worshipped by the Israelites in the valley of Hinnom, who offered human sacrifices to him. Skipping down, it says, according to the rabbins, his statue was of brass with a human form, but the head of an ox. You just saw that head of an ox in that effigy that was burning. It was hollow within and heated from below, and the children to be sacrificed were cast into its arms. And in like manner is the statue of Saturn among the Carthaginians. And Saturn, if you look at the poles of Saturn, there's a star on those poles. And that star is a hexagram, and it's identical to that Star of David, or that Star of Remphan that you see on that blue and white flag. It says, among the Carthaginians described, and also that hexagram is also, there's a seal of Saturn, which is the two parts going into each other, the two triangles, or two arrows of the triangles going into each other, and you could see that just the same in this other Star of David. It says the Moloch of the Ammonites and the Saturn of the Carthaginians both represented the planet Saturn, which was regarded by the Phoenicio-Shemitic nations as, I guess that's Moloch, but to be appeased by human sacrifices. But yeah, this stuff, this is the seal of Saturn right here, and you even see the Hebrew writing around it, and you can see the two arrows up and down. That's fertility worship. That's not of the Lord. And then I also typed in seal of Saturn, or seal of Saturn, Star of David, because they intertwine. And so you can see Masonic works right there. Even the angle and compass, whatever they call it, that's even that same seal right there. And then you see the hexagram, 6-pointed star. That's how people used to put hexes onto people, with a hexagram. And you see it right here in the seal of Babylon, the seal of the United States. And it's got this seal on it. Look at that right there. It's everywhere. And then look, there's Moloch with a baby in his arms and fire in there, because these people are merciless murderers of children. What does it say there? The Star of Remphan. And you see they use both that, the 5-pointed star, the pentagram on the left. Oh, and this is the talisman of Saturn. And so on the front, you got the 5-pointed star, the pentagram, which everybody knows that's some satanic stuff. Ooh, let's not even go there. And then on the back, you got the 6-pointed star, the hexagram. So a pentagram and a hexagram. And that hexagram, the world calls it something else, and they think it's something that it's not. But, you see it right there. That's who these people are. These are the children, the sons and daughters of Satan. He who's working and coming is after Satan, with all power, lying wonders. Uh, 2 Thessalonians 2 and verse 7, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work. This is Paul speaking, and the Romans were in power. These are descendants of or the forefathers of these people that we're talking about now. The Edomites. The Edomites ruled Rome, and the Edomites are ruling this reiteration of Rome, the fourth beast. And so they're in power then. But this is the point where they're about to come out of power. It says, for the mystery of iniquity doth already work, only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Then shall that wicked be revealed. The wicked are the Edomites, the sons and daughters of Esau Edom, so-called white people, including those tiny tops. Not every single one of them that you see, but for the most part, that is the wicked. It says, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. He's doing that right now through his prophets. And through these other people are bringing them out. And also, Esau's own tongue is falling on himself. The Lord is revealing these devils. Because even Esau allowed these reports to be released, and it's as a distraction or as a humiliation ritual or something to show the people that they can't do anything against him. But his own tongue is falling on himself, and he's being exposed. People see that they're wicked and that they're not the people of the Lord. It says, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Come back, Yahushua, destroy these devils. But Isaiah 63, that's what that reminds me of. It says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power and signs and lying wonders. These people have the seal of Saturn for their national flag, and it goes over people's heads. That's the Star of Remphan. These are Satanists. These are a satanic people. Look at that. These are Satanists. This has nothing to do with Israel. That symbol. They are adverse to all the ways of the Lord. And they are currently in power. Actually, let's go here since they are currently in power. This is from the Geneva Bible, the GNB, but Ephesians 6 and 12. It says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, and against the worldly governors, who is in power and influence within this earth. As far as we know, we can start with the Rothschilds, and then go down from there, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Gettys, the Oppenheimers, the Lees, just so on and so forth. That's the wicked. That's why the earth is under such a evil vibration. It says, as the king, so are the people. And these people are wicked at the very top, but they're being revealed first, and then they're going to be destroyed with the brightness of his coming. It's going to be beautiful. But this is an evil world, but against principalities, against powers, and against the worldly governors, showing you it's these people that are there. And then you look at these files and reports. It's these people. This is the princes of the darkness of this world against spiritual wickedness, which are in high places. And this is within high places. But we started out with those Carmanians, with the Iranians, because they were burning those images. And these two, this all goes into them being destroyed, because the state of the Jays, they're the ones that are going to bring everybody out to the battle. and the Lord's going to let them come out. He says the least of the flock will draw them out. They're going to do something because they'll probably be offended with the Iranians, with what they're doing. Who knows what they're going to do? They already said they have a red line when it comes to ICBMs, so they'll go on the offensive. But either way, the least of the flock, the state of the Jays, they're going to draw everybody out to the battle of Yahweh Shaphat. All because they're in the land in the first place. The Lord's going to let all that get going. Oops. I go to Joel 3, Slakia, in which I should pull out the least of the flock because we mentioned it, and then Lord willing we get to Joel 3. But Salakia, Jeremiah, I don't know why I was in Isaiah. Jeremiah 49. Jeremiah 49 and 20. Therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Edom, so-called white people, including those tiny tops, not all, but most, and his purposes that he hath purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock, that's Israel, they're one of the youngest countries of Edom, and they're small. They're a small country as well in population. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them, draw them out to this great battle, which the Lord speaks of over and over. Because the state of the Jays are going to be there. Those Carmanians, these Iranians are going to be there. The Russians, the Chinese, Americans. It's the third woe. All the nations are going to gather together for the Lord to judge, for the Lord to plead with his people, because they stole his land. Joel 3 and verse 2. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat. The third woe, or World War III, which is it's going to mark the end of the times of the Gentiles. It's going to mark the end of these heathen, particularly these Edomite, who celebrate and worship Moloch or Baal, whoever, Satan. They're about to be brought down. It says, I will also gather all nations and will bring, but yeah, it's the last time they'll have any power whatsoever. That was the point. I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, and will plead with them there for my people, which plead goes into judge, and for my heritage Israel. Israel's the Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, as well as our scatter, because we're going to come back looking like everybody. It says, whom they have scattered among the nations. We've been scattered, and parted my land. And they stole the Lord's land. They touched his people, and he's about to judge them. So that's why these people are being exposed on this scale. The world's seeing, looking at them and knowing that they aren't the people of the Lord, that they are idol worshippers and that child sacrificers. But yeah, Lord willing, that was edifying. I'd like to give all glory, all praise, all honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakak, Wadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of the great millstone. Shalom to the elect of Israel. Shalom.